Hey guys, this is Josh. I'm going to bring you a quick video today. This one should be relatively straightforward as we're going to set up Qortal on a Windows computer. Now I've got a Mac. You guys probably have seen that video first. This is on my wife's computer where she's got Qortal set up on her Windows 10 computer here. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, let's start with what is Qortal. So hopefully you've heard of something called the blockchain, things like Bitcoin or Ethereum. If those concepts are completely brand new to you, think of the blockchain as the next iteration of the internet. So just like the highway system connects the entire United States, which was built, after World War II. That's a beautiful system that enabled us to travel with greater speed, reach other places a little bit faster rather than going on local roads. So that highway system enabled a more perfect or more beautiful connectivity of people across this country. The internet very much has done the same thing for connectivity, and the blockchain is really the next iteration of the internet. Now, why is the blockchain so important? Well, it's a immutable, meaning unchangeable, ledger of transactions. So it's a publicly viewable place where you can see every transaction that takes place. Now, that's a really important thing when we're talking about a world that's controlled from maybe an authoritarian perspective. So this is more of the decentralized, give freedom back to the people, internet of the future. For blockchain and Ethereum, some people have argued that there's some flaws inherent in how those things work. This would be the next iteration, working off of what Bitcoin and Ethereum have already done and taking it to the next step. So a few things on this webpage. There's a blog here. You can see what's been done with Qortal over time. The wiki, which I would highly recommend. A lot of good help information here. Also some good deep dive into more of the what is Qortal. I know I gave you the high level. And then downloads, which is basically where we're going to start. But really quick, I'll show you one other thing on this website. And you can see some information here. Download for how we get the core and the user interface, which is what we're going to do today. And the core is really how you get onto that highway system, how you connect to the highway. We're gonna build you an on-ramp to that highway system directly from your computer. And the user interface, which is the second part of that, is going to be your car that's going to help you drive on that highway system. And we'll talk a little bit about that engine, how to use it, and how to get you all set up. The other thing I want to show you though, because this is helpful, is if you need help and you can't find it on the wiki, there's two links at the bottom of this website here, which is Qortal.org. You've got Discord and Telegram. Those are just two applications where people connect and essentially can text message each other, send images as well, and get some IT type of help for you if you're having any trouble with Qortal along the way, or you just want to connect to the Qortal community, which is a beautiful growing community of people. So to get started, we'll go back to the downloads and we'll see what we need to get ourselves all set up and onto the blockchain. As you can see here, Windows is one of the first ones. Below, you've got Linux and Mac for other types of users, but we're going to download the core, which is part 1, and we're going to download the user interface, which is part 2. I've already gone and downloaded them, although they're very small files, so it shouldn't take you much time at all. So here in the downloads folder, you should see both the applications, and we've got 60 megabytes and 57 megabytes, very easy to download. All you'll do is double click this installer, and I've already got Qortal installed here, but you follow the instructions on your installer. If it asks you, this is an unsecure download from the internet, you're going to say yes, because hopefully you want to be part of the project, and you've checked it out, you feel comfortable with it, but you're installing, again, that on-ramp to get onto the blockchain. This is just the application for you to do that. Once you've got that set up, and I'll put you in a folder like this. Mine's in my C program files Qortal. You should have all of these documents inside of your folder once it's unzipped and installed. Here's the Qortal application. Here's a Qortal jar, which is one of the most important things inside here. Essentially, it runs the Qortal core. And then our settings, which we're going to make one quick change to the settings. So we'll right click that and we're going to open. And you want to open this in Notepad. So mine's defaulted there. If it doesn't tell you, you can open with and use Notepad. Or separately, you could just open Notepad and you could drag and drop this into an open Notepad and it will open it for you that way too. Now I'll put this language in the description below the video. You won't use this one because this one is unique to my computer here or my wife's computer, Heidi. But the other things we're going to want to input in here. So the API documentation enabled to true, min blockchain peers to 8, and max peers 66. I wouldn't worry too much about what this means, but essentially you'll at a minimum connect with 8 individuals or 8 other computers. And for you, I wouldn't start with 66. I always recommend if this is your first time installing Qortal and you're brand new to the project, start with 25 or 33. The more peers you're connected to, the more strain it's going to put on your machine, but it also does help the connectivity of the network, right? If you're connected to more computers, it's going to be a more secure connection, I guess is one way to think of it. So we'll close that out. We've updated our settings and we've got our Qortal core. Now I've got mine running. So I'll show you here what it looks like when you open it. Let's exit that. And that's exactly how you're going to close the core down, right? You're going to just find it in your icons, right click and exit. It's disappeared. So let's reopen our Qortal core. And I'll show you, this takes about 10, maybe 15 seconds for it to start populating. You'll see that cube with the Qortal logo in it. And there we go. It's already popped back up. That didn't take very long at all. So you can see it's connecting. I've got 0 connections here. My block height is at 332,000 and change. When you start out, you're going to have a block height of 0. Now, don't worry, you can get from 0 to 332,000 very quickly. If you go the long way, which is starting from 0, it will take you some time. So how do we advance that process? Well, let's go back to our browser. And we've got www.qortaldb.com. That's the database or the blockchain data. So the developers are very smart. They want to get lots of people connected and they don't want everybody to take weeks or months or whatever it might be to download this, especially as the blockchain continues to grow minute by minute. So they'll continue to update these databases. The current one they've got is, and this is called a bootstrapping to kind of get you a little bit further advanced, is at block height 328,000. So let's see, where was I? 332. So just a few thousand blocks away. A few thousand may seem like a lot, but don't worry, your machine will get that connected pretty quickly. Usually it takes maybe a couple hours, I would say maximum, to maybe pick up those few thousand blocks. If it's a little bit more than that, maybe it takes a day, but shouldn't be very long for you at all. These databases typically do get updated every couple weeks or so, especially as the block height continues to move forward. Now I'm not going to download this because that's a 20 gigabyte folder. It's a little bit large because it does contain some information. And you can see here it says important, use 7-zip to unzip the files. If you do not have 7-zip, although your machine should have it, you can download that by going to www.7-zip.org. And you can see, download.html, that'll pop up automatically. And it'll tell you here how to download your 7-zip files for Windows. You can see the date of when these were put in, so you can choose the one that you like, although any of them frankly will work. I think I've got the 19 on here. So if you choose your 64-bit machine, and you're going to choose, for me, I've got an Intel 64-bit, so I downloaded this one, and that is the executable file to get you set up and get your 7-zip. Once you've done that and you've downloaded your DB folder, it'll appear right here in your downloads. Again, I've already done that. And all you're going to do is unzip that file, although I would do a couple things first. So let's reopen our Qortal folder, right? Windows, Program Files, Qortal. And you always want to make sure to shut down your core. Now, I'm not going to do that, but you just right click and you exit. and you always want to shut down your core before making changes. This is vitally important. I think of it this way. Your core is the engine that gets you onto the blockchain. You would never make a change to your car's engine. You would never tinker with your car's engine while it was running. So make sure that you close down your core before you make any changes to the settings or you make any changes to your database. Do not try and tinker with your engine while it is running. Problems will happen or you will get hurt. In this case, you'll hurt the Qortal core and you're probably going to need to reinstall it. So we've shut down our core by exiting. We unzip that DB folder, we drag and drop it into here, and now we can refire up the Qortal core, and you'll see the icon just like we did before, and you'll start to get your block height running. You can see now mine's back to synchronized and I'm back to minting, which we'll get into possibly in another video. So now you've got your core installed. The second piece was that user interface, which we downloaded. I've already got mine installed on my machine, but you'll just double click, go through the install. Very easy to get that set up. For me, I've got a separate icon that I put on my desktop here, but you'll be able to find it again in Program Files, Qortal User Interface. And if you ever need to uninstall it, you got your uninstallers right here too. You would just open your application and it will look just like this. And I would recommend when you open your user interface to expand this window, double click, or you can hit these buttons up here. And that way it runs with a little better functionality in full screen than it does as a miniature window. Now you can log in if you've already created an account, or you can go through the create account process since this will be your first time logging into Qortal. So we'll click here. This is essentially telling you that is generating a backup seed phrase. This seed phrase is going to be your backup if you ever forget your password, how to get back into your account. This is vitally important, and I would save this to something like a thumb drive or an external hard drive. Reason being, if you lose your computer or it's stolen and you want to get back access to your Qortal account, and let's say you don't remember your password, if you don't have your seed phrase or if it's saved on the device you just lost, you no longer have that backup. So you better remember your password or have access to that seed phrase. If you're advanced, you can click here. Wouldn't recommend it. So let's just go to next and save in this browser, which is just remembering your username and your password. So test user and whatever, any password that you want, and you would create an account. I'm not going to create that one, but once you do, your login will look something like this, and you've created your user ID, and this string of characters underneath is actually going to be your unique account. Don't worry about that. You can create an account later, which we'll touch on in perhaps another video, or those are good questions for once you've got your core set up and you're on your user interface. You can interact with the community, like I mentioned before, through Discord or through Telegram. And that's it. That's how you get set up. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.